right, guys, today we're going to talk about factors. So when you're talking about a factor, the definition is two or more numbers that multiply together to get a product. And remember, our word product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Okay, so we're talking multiplication this whole time. So when we look at any multiplication problem, for example, if we have, if we have 3 times 4, okay? So if we have 3 times 4, 3 and 4 are our factors, okay? The answer is 12, so that's our product. So what that means is that 3 and 4 are factors of 12, okay? Another thing, if we are looking at other factors of 12, we know that 2 times 6 also equals 12, right? So that means 2 and 6 are factors of 12. And then we also know 1 times 12 is a problem that equals 12. So that means 1 and 12 are also factors of 12. So there's a couple different ways to talk about this. When you're listing them, many times it'll say to list them. So in this case, we're going to list factor pairs. So just like we did before, we're going to talk about pairs of numbers that multiply together to get a number. Now, anytime you're talking about factors, 1 is a factor of every single number. So 1 times 24 would be a factor pair of 24. Now, what I like to do is I go from 1 and I work my way up and think, okay, can 2 go into 24? Yeah, it's even. So I know that 2 times 12 equals 24. Then I think, okay, I've done 1, I've done 2. Can 3 go into 12? Yeah, 24. 3 times 8 is 24. And then I look, okay, can 4 go into 24? Yeah, 4 times 6 is 24. And then I think in my head, okay, can 5 go into 24? No, it can't. And we know already over here that 6 can go into 24. So we've already kind of met in the middle. So for the number 24, we have 4 sets of numbers here, 4 pairs that are going to equal 24. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 factors that go into 24, okay? Now, so that's factor pairs, so listing multiplication problems that equal 24. Now, we wouldn't want to do 6 times 4 because that's the same pair. They're just flipped around, okay? Just the commutative property, meaning that they can be rearranged and equal the same number. So you wouldn't want to list this twice. We already have it listed once, so we don't need to list it twice. Back here, we have the same factors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. Do factor pairs. Okay, now another way to talk about these is a factor rainbow. So when you talk about that, it's the same type of idea. So we'd have 1 times 24. And then the way they talk about it with rainbows is to connect the two that are going to multiply together. And then we're going to put a comma in between our factors. 2 times 12. And then we are going to connect those two. And then 3 times 8. And then we'll connect those two. And then 4 times 6, and you connect those two. And so what you can see here is that it actually creates what looks like a rainbow. So it's the same concept, exact same factors over here, but we're connecting them with these rainbow lines to help kind of show the connection. And then what I like about listing them this way is once we get to this middle area, so 1, 2, 3, 4, the only thing that could fit in between here would be a 5. And we know that 5 can't go into 24, so our factor rainbow is actually finished. Show your factors. You can either a factor rainbow. Now, the third way to talk about this is just to list the factors. So this is exactly the same as your factor rainbow, except that you're not going to connect it with those rainbow lines. So this is a little more sophisticated. So 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. So in this case, this is the exact same list as we had before. We're just not connecting them with the rainbows. So this is more of kind of like, now that we're getting a little older, this is how you would list your factors, or a factor list. But all right, so let's list the factor pairs of 25. So if we're going to list factor pairs, we would have 1 times 25. And then the only other thing that goes into 25 would be 5 times 5, okay? So that would be your factor pairs. If I wanted to list them in a factor list, I would have 1 times 25, and then I would just have 1 5 in the middle. I wouldn't write the second 5 twice, because we're just listing all the different factors of 25. So 1, 5, and 25 are the different factors. I wouldn't list 5 twice. Different way. All right, factor pairs of 36. Now I'm actually going to switch it up, and instead of doing factor pairs, I'm going to do the factor list. So let's start by doing 1 and 36. And can 2 go into 36? Yep. So 2. And then sometimes this fact is going to be more than 12, so it takes a little bit more kind of thinking it through. So what's half of 36? Half of 36 is 18. Then I want to think to myself, can 3 go into 36? Yep, it can. So 3 times 12. Then I want to think to myself, okay, can 4 go into 36? It can. 4 times 9. Can 5 go into 36? It cannot, so I'm not going to write that. But 6 times 6 is 36. So that is the full list of factors for 36. Now, yeah, the one thing is sometimes like my 6, I made it a little big here because my space was big. You don't have to make it big, and sometimes your spacing might be a little off, and that's completely fine. The goal is just to give yourself enough space to get numbers in if you can, but don't worry about if there's a big gap in the middle. But this is your factor list of 30. Factor list for factor pairs for 9. So this is going to be similar to 25. 1 times 9, and then 3 times 3. So that's it. So if I'm doing my factor list, I have 1, 3, and 9. Okay. Now, one reason that, and you're welcome to do the rainbow lines, but sometimes the rainbow lines get in the way, especially if you're trying to fit it in a small space. So let's do 4 practice problems here really quickly so that we can get some practice. So for 12, I'm going to start with 1 and 12. And then can 2 go into 12? Yep. So 2 and 6. Can 3 go into 12? Yep. 3 and 4. And that's the end of that set of factors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. All right, 24 we've already done, so we're going to practice this one. So 1 and 24, 2 and 12. Can 3 go into it? Yep. 3 and 8. Can 4 go into it? Yep. 4 and 6. So this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes you just have a gap in there, and that's not a big deal. Don't stress about it. It's okay. All right, let's do 15. So 1 and 15, we always do 1 times itself. 1 times the number that we're trying to figure out what the factors are. Can 2 go into 15? Nope. Can 3 go into 15? Yep. 3 times 5. Can 4 go into 15? Nope. So that is our list for 15. All right, for 60, and this is where you kind of have to think about you have to kind of go in order and kind of decide what goes into it. So 1 and 60, 2, and half of 60 is 30. Can 3 go into 60? Yep, 3 times 20. Can 4 go into 60? Yep, 4 times 15. Uh-oh, I'm going to run out of room. Can 5 go into 60? Yep. 5 and 12. Uh-oh, I've completely run out of room. Wonder if I can move. Oh, I can't move these. Darn. Okay, so I'm going to have to write a little thing way down under here. So we've got 6 times 10, and then 7, 8, and 9 don't go into 60. So this is, unfortunately, these little guys don't fit in there, but they go right up there. So our 60 list is really long. And normally what we would probably do is erase all this and squeeze these in there. But sometimes then that's really hard to remember what your numbers are. So you might want to write it off to the side. But anyway, this is how you list your factors. So remember, for the most part, we're going to be doing a factor list these days, just to kind of give us that upper level practice with our factors. All right, guys, have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.